So, a few things we want to go over on this call are the rules, that I've created over 17 straight years in the auction. Just trial and error, but if you follow these rules, you should have a higher probability of being successful in the auction. And the main thing before we jump into it, it's about strategy and about having a plan and executing the plan. So we're gonna go over the rules, what an AAP is, auction action plan, and then what's the third thing? Question and answer for anybody who's on it. But those two things, they don't seem like a lot, but they're a lot. It's really all about the mindset, how you set yourself up to be successful. Because the auction, the format is one that tries to elicit emotion. And when you get into doing things emotionally in real estate is when you can get in trouble. But if you keep it cut and dry, the numbers, if it's a deal, execute. If it's not, you pass, then you'll have success. You have a better chance of being successful. But, so let me jump into this document real quick. The first rule that I've created over the years is never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, been on a property you have not put your eyes on. And preferably, physically been inside. Now, I know we have out of state, maybe even out of the country folks in this cohort, and that may not be feasible, but you want to utilize your resources and get someone that does have, boots on the ground there in Detroit and can put your eyes on it. I mean, we're in 2024, so you have, FaceTime, you have all sorts of high-tech video, basically like you're there first person. So do that. Do not, under any circumstances, bid on a property you have to put your eyes on. It happens every year. Every year I've participated, I've seen somebody, and we have examples. Shoot, hopefully one of the guests I have on, they'll share with you an example of when they did it, when they shouldn't have, but they did it, or that's a normal practice. They got bit, So that's one rule to live by. The second one is you have to have a well thought out and researched AAP, which is auction acquisition plan. So we'll dive into what that is and how you execute one or develop one. And then number 3 is you have to have your funding ready prior to the auction. And there's 3 categories of funding that you need to have. You need to have your pre-auction funding. You have to have your actual auction, so the actual bidding amount on the property, and you have to have your post-auction. And what those are, your pre-auction, your pre-auction is just those things we talked about, like trying to get your AAP executed. If you're not actually driving around and going into houses and getting pictures and stuff, then you have to pay somebody to do that. So you got to have funding for that. You have to have funding for, that's pretty much, that's it. You might want to do some research. You might have to pull stuff up, pull comps. If you have a relationship with a real estate broker, they should be able to help you with that. And then I have rules on how to vet that real estate professional that you use too. I'll get into that on another call. But you have to have your pre-funding funds. You have to have your actual, so you have the property you want to bid on and you think it's going to be about 20 grand. You got to have those funds. But then you also have to have your post-auction funds, which is, I think now they've continued this. I think they started this in like 2017 or 18, where you had to pay the current year's taxes in addition to your winning bid. Previous years, you would just buy it and the tax roll was just continuing to go, and if you didn't pay that year, you could catch up. But they noticed they had a lot of defaults, so then they made you pay that year's when you did it. So you have to factor that in. It may be another $2,500 bucks. But you have to factor that in. You buy 10 properties, that's 25 grand. You got to have that factored in. And then there's also stuff you might need to do, some emergency board up. You might need to do some emergency water shutoffs. And if you're not doing these things, you have to have the funds available to call, the right people to go and get it done. So those are the 3 buckets. And those are it. Those are 3 rules. Never ever purchase something you haven't seen, preferably been in. Number 2, have your AAP, stick to it. And number 3, have your funds together. And then I'll go into more in depth with those 3 on the next call. All right.